we recently spoke to a blogger from Occupy Wall Street who made the comment that there were a bunch of divisions within that movement, between people who had conflicting views from within the community or from within the movement. And there was also a second, I guess you would say, controversy about how it was portrayed and how Occupy Wall Street could have done much better if they had told certain members of the community to just tone it down when you're in front of cameras. Do you guys feel that there's any division within the GSM community? And do you ever, in public or in rallies or anything like that, when you're trying to make a point, do you ever, just tell somebody to tone it down for the sake of looking better for public appearances?
I feel like there is a big division. Not only, like we were saying, there's sort of a division between those who are basically double minorities within the community. But I feel like there's also a division in that a lot of people don't like some of the flamboyancy and effeminacy or masculinity of some people in the community. I know even within the trans community, I'm not a particularly masculine trans guy, and that can be a problem for me because somewhat effeminate trans guys are seen as dragging down the community. And it's a problem because it's basically splitting hairs. To be honest, I would never tell anybody to tone down themselves. I hate it when people tell me to tone it down. I just hate that. I don't want to have to be normal for the majority. I want to be able to be who I am. And if the majority doesn't like that, then fine, they can deal with it. And that's my piece.
I'd say that there's definitely a divide within the GSM community. I don't know if there's necessarily as strong a divide here at Georgia Southern between our members. I feel like most of our board members are pretty together on the same page, a united front to push for different issues. In the past, it's true that for many different organizations in the GSM community, gay rights only have been the forefront of their movement. But recently, the trans movement has kind of been absorbed into the gay movement. Is that what you guys would say too? Yeah.
To a point, mm-hmm. But it's only been absorbed in name only. I feel like, in terms of issues, they tend to not be addressed as much.
And those are some of the issues we actually look at here for our general body meetings. We try and bring more education about trans issues. We try and bring more education about different issues among those who identify in the GSM community, as well as different race issues, because a black lesbian may see things a lot differently than a white gay man or a white trans man. And I think that's something that we try and discuss and that we've been trying to push for a long time to allow for people to express themselves to us about how they feel about specific issues, where they want to go with these specific issues.
Well, continuing back on the subject of Pride, it's very clear that Pride can promote support for GSM rights and the GSM community in the heterosexual community, the cis heterosexual community especially. But it is also argued that it can spark reactionary feelings as well. That said, do you feel that Pride serves as a positive method of advocacy for GSM rights, or can it, in some cases, garner more friction than support?
To be honest, I very rarely see Pride as advocacy, although I guess in the case of, it's just showing that we're out there. It's basically just announcing to the world, hey, we're here, we're not really going anywhere. And I feel like that can always cause frictionary reactions. Really, even if we did something very low-key, so low-key that it almost didn't exist, it would garner a reactionary response. Some people just like to be reactionary. And as long as the voices of support outweigh those reactionary responses, I feel like we've accomplished something.
I think it depends too. I think that pride is definitely a subconscious way to advocate. We tend to forget all the things that we do for pride events, like booking hotel rooms, preparing whatever city is hosting that pride event. There are lots of different venues that bid for the event to come to them, and there are lots of different organizations that are at these events that sponsor these events. And if nothing else, this is a way to build relationships with these different companies that want to help us out, even though it may be through making money. They're looking out for our best interest because they know that we're going to be there to consume that specific product if they do help us out. That being said, we've had several people that have helped us with this upcoming Pride event, and I think that it's opened the door to communication with lots of different organizations that we will meet when we get there tomorrow morning.
Since GSM rights can be such a politically charged issue, and in light of what seems to be on almost everyone's mind these days, the upcoming elections in the US in November, could you give us some insight regarding how the upcoming US presidential elections stand to affect gender and sexual minorities? And are GSM minorities largely of one mind regarding politics? Or are GSM minorities more ideologically diverse than they're often portrayed as being?
I feel like I feel that they are more diverse because I know a gay Republican. They exist. I know gay libertarians. It's just that they're overshadowed by all of the people who identify as Democrats within the community. And it wouldn't be fair for me to say that all of us think alike when that would be me making an assumption, and that's not fair to those people who don't identify as Democrats. Personally, I'm a Democrat, but I can't speak for everyone else. That's not my place to do that.
And as far as the elections go, I feel like in terms of this year, there's been less of a focus on GSM issues. A lot of it's been economic, and in the GSM community, there's a lot of focus on what's going to economically be best for us. And it's still there, the focus is still there, especially with the repeal of Don't Ask, Don't Tell, and all that jazz. And I feel like, depending on who gets elected, that might be a big issue. But other than that, I'm not really sure. And whether the Defense of Marriage Act will be... Did they repeal that, or is that still in state? I can't remember. Anyway, I feel like it's going to be less of a focus in the upcoming election than it has been in the past, or even as it was in the Republican primary, which was... Does anybody even remember Rick Perry? To be honest, but...
Between Rick Perry and Michelle Bachmann and Rick Santorum.
That was a big focus for all three of them, but the current candidates haven't really been talking about it, so I'm not really sure how it's going to affect us at this point.
Honestly, I feel like there's going to be a lot decided these next few years. We have two strong candidates running for this ginormous office. We have one who has been the first president to publicly support gay marriage. We have issues of INDA, which is the Employment Non-Discrimination Act that's coming up. Will Romney support that? Will he not support that? He's been for and against it a couple of times, so it'd be interesting to see what he proposes about the Employment Non-Discrimination Act, which could help lots of GSM families. There's going to be a lot that we're going to have to look at going into these elections. And I think there's going to be a lot to look forward to no matter who wins after these elections. I actually believe that the issue of gay marriage is coming before the Supreme Court here soon. Not sure what's going to happen with that. Hopefully it'll turn out in our favor, but you never know. But yeah, I think that the election's going to tell a lot about how ready we are to establish change in the United States.